Training camp is officially here, and while training camp is always a place for storylines to start for each NFL team, Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson have made the message very clear for Kyler Gordon. You have to be dependable, and you need to be here. And this is setting up a make-or-break season in a lot of ways for Kyler Gordon. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Plus, we're going to talk about injury updates to TJ Edwards, Montez Sweat, and Ryan Poles and what he said about Darnell Wright's contract situation that we need to be looking out for sometime soon. All that plus Ben Johnson making a clear statement on Caleb Williams and his expectations in year 3. We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And man, listen, Kyler Gordon, I've probably been one of the people that have been the most supportive of Kyler Gordon probably in this community, right? I think when Kyler Gordon has been on the football field, he's been really good, right? And up until last season, he had never missed more than, I think, 4 games in the season. And then he goes on to miss double-digit games for the first time in his career. Coming into this season now with another soft tissue injury, and we already have seen how soft tissue injuries take so long for players to truly recover from, it has now set a stage and even more questions around what it looks like for Kyler Gordon. And in Ryan Poles and Ben Johnson's first address of the media during the training camp period, those things took it a step even further. Ryan Poles said this. Obviously, he's frustrated. We're frustrated. Everybody here is putting their time and effort into getting him back. He went on to say this, a little bit of a repetitive situation that we got to get fixed. And then when he gets back, we're going to have to earn the trust back and the dependability because we got to pull our guys in a good position to be successful. And the up and down moving guys is really tough. So he'll have to earn that when he gets back. And Ben Johnson, when asked about Kyler Gordon, he simply said, get healthy. Right. And Ben Johnson has been a little bit has made his frustrations clear in regards to not necessarily Kyler Gordon, the person, the player, but the fact that he has not had Kyler Gordon out on the football field, even so much so earlier in the offseason saying like, yeah, we still got to get to know him. Right. Like, so there's a thing in regards to that you just can't overlook. And, you know, Kyler Gordon is in a situation now where, once again, starting off on the PUP list, right, with a calf injury this time. And, you know, I'm sure that it is frustrating for Kyler Gordon. I do like hearing that Kyler Gordon is frustrated by this because as a player, you want your players to be frustrated by not being able to be out there on the field and helping their teammates and doing what he needs to do. So now the fact that Kyler Gordon has to earn trust back, I mean, listen, I wish I could say that you know, he shouldn't have to earn trust XYZ, but guess what? No, he's going to have to earn that. He has 3 more years left on his deal, right? And want to be clear on that, a lot of that, for example, this year, it'll turn into more dead money than it would be a salary cap hit. Next season, it's going to be $5 million in dead money if they try to move off of it, stuff like that. And even if they do, I think they'll trade him more than just try to cut Kyler Gordon. But Kyler Gordon being now 27 years old, right? Not to say that is still a very young player with a lot of football career left ahead of him. But like we saw with Jaquan Brisker, and this is the situation that Kyler could be putting himself in, is that now you've put a target on your back. Because regardless of how good you are when you're on the field or not, if you're not on the field enough for them to depend on you, that's just going to be the reality of the situation. They're going to have to move on to somebody that they can be more dependable about, especially when you have a team that is trying to be a Super Bowl contender, right? I always frame it like this. Every offseason should be about eliminating questions, finding answers to questions that plague your team, and trying your best to not create new question marks on your team, right? And Kyler Gordon has become one of those question marks that is, in fairness, just because he has not been consistent. He hasn't been there enough. And you see that now in the words from the GM. You see that in the words from the head coach. Now, I will say this. Kyler can turn this around this season, right? Regardless if Kyler plays in preseason or not. If he's healthy and ready to go by the start of the season, plays the majority game of the season and plays well, okay. You have started to stave off some of those questions in regards to that. But this isn't just an injury update for Kyler Gordon. I want to be clear there. This is a warning shot. That's what the Chicago Bears are sending here. This is a warning shot to Kyler Gordon and what the expectations are for him if he wants to be here with Chicago. We can talk all day long about how you can fit in Dennis Allen's scheme, how you can make Dennis Allen's scheme pop, how you can make it easier on this defense, all that type of stuff. We can talk about the possibilities all day long, but the possibilities don't matter when you don't have your ass on the football field. And that's really what this has come down to now for this one. And like, I'm sure everybody's frustrated. Like I said, I want to be clear here. In no way am I saying or want to act like Kyler Gordon sitting back on this one and just being like, well, I'll get out there when I can get out there. No, Kyler Gordon needs to be frustrated. He needs to be driven. He needs to be all those type of stuff. But unfortunately, this isn't one of those injuries that you can tough your way out of. This isn't one of those injuries that you can push your way through. This is a soft tissue injury. And the more that you try to push it before allowing it to heal, it can get actually worse, way worse. So that's what it comes down now to. So let's see, right? Earning the trust, earning the dependability back. That's now the mandate that's what your team is telling you they need you to do. Can you go out there and do it? Can you make that happen? Can you earn the trust? Can you be more of a dependable player? I hope that he can, right? Because this is an important season for the Chicago Bears trying to make that next step. And Kyler Gordon can be a big part of that, or it can be something that we look at and say, thank God we drafted Malik Muhammad. We'll see, right? And we'll see what's going to happen for that one. All right, let's move on. TJ Edwards in the injury update as well. It shows that, TJ Edwards is dealing also with the right calf injury, but polls did say that it's not viewed as anything major, which is important. I think TJ Edwards is important for the tone setting of this defense by a large margin. I think he is, right? And he should not be out long. And, with veterans like TJ Edwards, it's not about playing preseason games for them, for me, right? TJ Edwards knows his role in the system. Of course, with having a new linebacker in Devin Bush out there, bringing back Jack Sanborn, having DeMarco Jackson, you would like to get some of those reps in, but I don't think we're going to see a lot of the starters anyway throughout preseason. I would not be surprised if we don't see a full 3 quarters from the starters in preseason, because you kind of know what you have now, right? The offense for that side of the ball, they're not learning the system anymore, right? The defense isn't getting over the hump, learning Dennis Allen's system. You do have, camp battles and things like that. So I would not be upset if TJ Edwards missed a big part of this. I don't think it's a major thing when it all shakes out in regards to that one. So, TJ Edwards being on the injury list right now doesn't seem like he's going to be on there long. So I'm not really overly concerned about that at all in any stretch of the imagination. So let's see what's going to happen in regards to that one. As far as other injury updates as well, of course, Ozzie Trapillo is out. We know that he's going to miss the majority, if not the entirety of the year. I'm starting to lean towards Ozzie Trapillo too. If our left tackle rotation is solid, just letting him heal the rest of the year. Like real talk. Just letting him heal. When you look at the history of that injury, and I put together a whole bunch of information on the history that injury, then we started having other news and stuff. I haven't covered it on the show yet. Typically, if you allow a player to take off the majority of the season, they come back pretty much like themselves. And so I think Ozzie Trapillo could be on that. But again, if he's ready to go, let's say with 2 or 3 weeks left in the playoffs, bring him back, right? So you have that Ozzie Trapillo, that's expected, right? Then you have Shamar Turner and Noah Sewell and Keyshawn Elliott all landing on the physically unable to perform list also. It doesn't seem like it's anything major for any of these guys, which is a good part to be on. Shamar Turner, for him, we know he's moving. They're trying to move him more to the edge this season. We need that depth at the edge, so we'll see what's going to happen with him. Hopefully, he's able to get out there. Noah Sewell, I'll say this. We talked about Noah Sewell potentially being on the roster bubble, and that's real. It's legitimate, and he's going to have to get his shit together too, especially when you have guys like Keyshawn Elliott, right, who also was on the physically unable to perform list, but he's a rookie that's coming in, and he may be trying to take your spot. So you need Noah Sewell out there to do that, right? But it doesn't seem like any of these guys outside of Ozzie Trapillo, they're worried about it lingering on too long, right? Also, in regards to both Hicks as well and Montez Sweat. Montez Sweat is sick. Doesn't seem like it's a physical injury at all, so nothing to worry about in regards to that one. And in regards to Hicks as well, Ryan Poles basically said that it's not anything that they're worried about, including anything long-term for. So the players that it seems like it's really that you're worried about it being long-term for, of course, are Kyler Gordon with the soft tissue injury. We already know Ozzie Trapillo's out, right? So there's no question about that part of it, and Noah Sewell, right? Those are the guys that you're kind of looking at the most of it being something that could linger on past preseason into the regular season. And so hopefully, those guys are able to get back out there and they're able to play pretty well. For what it's worth, it seems like Dayote Yingbo is not on the injury list. He's going to be a full go once training camp starts. The motivated Dayote Yingbo storyline, for whatever it is, it's alive, and we'll see how motivated Dio really is to come into the season and really push what is going to happen here. So, Montez Sweat, is good that he's not going to be anything too worried about with him. We need Montez Sweat out there. He's the stabilizer on that edge. He's the most consistent player we have on the defensive line, maybe as a whole, right? I know. I think Javon Dexter's pretty consistent too. It's just that he's also consistently not great in the run game, which we need him to improve on. So you have that part of it also. But overall, it seems like the Bears are coming into training camp with a majoritarily healthy roster, and that's what you want, right? The bigger questions there. I think Kyler Gordon's the biggest question in regards to that, and hopefully he's able to get out there, get with his guys, start building that trust back up because you want to see that. So overall, good spot to be in with injuries. You're going to deal with some over the course of it. Some are going to get added as well as the season goes on. I wouldn't be too surprised if that ends up happening, but, it is what it is there. But that leads me to the last topic that we're going to cover today, kind of in detail, and that's the biggest questions for the Chicago Bears and takeaways, I should say, takeaways from the report day in training camp. First off, of course, the Kyler Gordon issue. We've talked about that ad nauseum at this point. Kyler Gordon's situation is frustrating for everybody right now. And the Chicago Bears want to get that together. Let's see if they can, right? Get healthy. It's all there. The TJ Edwards part of it, you need your linebackers. And this linebacking core this season, I think it has more chance of an identity. And so for TJ Edwards to be fully healthy, right along with DeMarco Jackson, with Devin Bush, getting Keyshawn Elliott in there as well. Haven't really heard much about Ruben Hippolyte, but hopefully we start hearing some things about him once training camp starts up and he can get going in regards to that. But it's good to hear that Ryan Poles says it's nothing major, because I really want to see these linebackers really take that next step forward, this season and be a really big identifier. Like when the Bears defense is good, our linebacking cores are really good. They're not always elite, but they're really good. There's balance in those linebacking cores. And I think we need that for the Chicago Bears this year. We need that balance in that core. We need to bring that, do it consistently, and if we do that, we can be on to some good things, right? And then also, like Ryan Poles and what he said about Darnell Wright's contract extension. I want to read in regards to this one. He said, Darnell's a guy that we want here long term. I think every time we've heard Ryan Poles say that about a guy, that they end up being here long term, right? But he also said that, in fairness, he said that about Kevin Byard, and Kevin Byard's gone. But he said it takes two sides to get things done. But at the end of the day, I don't want any distractions or anything like that. So when it's time to go play football, we'll go play football and keep it moving. But yeah, he's a guy that we like to be here for a while. So the question becomes about, and Courtney Cronin and a lot of people have speculated on this, is that when is this deal going to get done? Hearing Ryan Poles say that he wants it to be about football when it's time to be about football says to me that they don't want this to be something that goes into the regular season or overheads. Like they're going to get this done probably like when Ryan Poles gets most of his contract extensions done. It's going to be probably, between that area of training camp and maybe the first preseason game, right? It can go maybe as far as the first practice after the first preseason game, but that's usually the sweet area, right? Anytime in training camp and sometime around the end of the first preseason game, like that first kind of practice after that first preseason game, that's that area that Ryan Poles likes to get his extensions done in. And so Darnell Wright is going to get it. He's going to get a sizable extension. He's going to be probably one of the best and highest paid tackles in the game of football when that extension comes through, and he's earned that. We talked about him heavily on yesterday's episode. What he's done and how he's continued to grow as a player is legitimate, and you can't take that away from him. So Darnell is going to continue to grow. He's going to get his contract extension, and then we can just focus on how much further is he going to go in this process. How much can Darnell Wright end up being one of the best tackles in Chicago Bears history? And listen, that sounds crazy to say and to ask at this point of somebody's career, but that's kind of the trajectory that he's on. And you want somebody that you can see 4 years into the league and be like, hey, there's a chance that he may be one of the best tackles in this franchise's history. And again, I'm not saying it, I'm not calling it yet. I'm not saying he's going to be that, but he has the absolute chance to be that. And for a franchise that likes tough son of a bitches who go out there and do their job, that get dirty, that get gritty, Darnell Wright has a chance to really be that franchise and be, looked at as one of the best Bears all term in his position group. So let's see what happens there. Also, I think what you can take away from the press conference is the expectations for Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson said this in regards to Caleb. He said this. He's got it all. There's really nothing I don't think he can't do. It's just the elite arm, the talent, the playmaking ability, the escapability. He has legs that he can hurt defenses with. There's just so many layers to who he is as a player. I think the word consistency comes up over the course of a 60-minute game more if we need it to. We're playing at a high-level quarterback playing throughout that game. You see flashes of it. And yet we're trying to tap into that where we're just consistently delivering the ball where it needs to go, giving it to our guys around us, and then we know that he has the ability to put on the Superman cape when it calls for it. And that's the definition of the season last year for Caleb Williams, right? Is that him putting on that Superman cape, leading the Chicago Bears on so many comeback victories, being the Iceman, and earning that nickname has all been there for Caleb Williams. Now it's about this season taking it the next step. What comes next after this? What comes next after what you've done and the groundwork that you've shown already? What comes next for that? And that's what we need to see from Caleb Williams, right? Johnson did also say that things are starting to slow down for Caleb Williams, which I think is going to make it dangerous, right? Johnson was also asked if the 70% completion percentage is still there, and he simply said it always will be. So, that's the expectation that Ben Johnson has. And I know, for Bears fans, are like, why are we making so much about completion percentage and all this? And it always comes down to this for me. Not, even if you don't want to care about the national media conversation or whatever else, this is a challenge that your head coach is laying out for his quarterback. And so therefore, it's always going to be a talking point. It's always going to be there because Ben Johnson always going to have it there for Caleb. And, whether Caleb lives up to that or not, like it's like you aim for the stars, you're still in the sky, right? That's what it comes down to. And so, Caleb is going to have huge expectations for him, but his play has earned that. He's earned those expectations. That's more than we've been able to say about a lot of Chicago Bears quarterbacks, is that at least when you hear high, and whether you look at them as crazy expectations or not for Caleb, he's earned the fact that those expectations have been put on him because he's been so good and he's continued to develop. But the next one up is that from the Tuesday press conference, another takeaway from that is that this left tackle battle is about to be real. Ryan Poles talked a little bit about it. He said this: it's going to be a great competition. I think they've got Braxton at a really good spot, probably the healthiest he's been since his first year, so he's going to compete. He's got a lot of snaps under his belt. Theo's done a great job. We see what he's done with his body this offseason. He continues to get bigger, stronger, faster to understand what we're trying to do. I was really encouraged by Jedrick Wills and his progress that he's made, and he's put over double-digit lean mass on his body, which is something we're looking forward to as he gets on. He's getting back on to what he was. So that whole group, and then Ozzy's working his tail off. So we got a couple of layers to what we'll see how it plays out. He also threw in and Kieran Amagaje as well. I don't know if he felt like he had to throw that in because Kieran Amagaje is a guy that he brought in. But this left tackle battle is going to be really fun to watch for. And I know, you have your people that are completely down on Braxton. I get that. You have your people that are really high on Jedrick Wills because of what he was before injury. I get that. And then I think people kind of also overlook Theo Benedict. I get it. Theo was inconsistent last season. But there was a time period where he did take over that starting left tackle from Braxton as well. So don't count him out. This is going to be a fun battle for the left tackle position. And I think how it comes out and what happens with that one is going to be the fun part about it all, right? Next up, Caleb Williams, of course, is generating a lot of talk, but it comes down to Luther Burden as well. Ryan Poles talked about Luther Burden. He said this: if there's a guy I'm really excited about, is Luther Burden, just because of how much he's grown from the day he walked in the building. I mean, I heard he was just texting and calling these quarterbacks just looking for an arm to throw to him every day of the week. The guy loves football. He's passionate about it. He wants to help us win games, and he wants to be the absolute best receiver he possibly can be. You can feel the desire inside of him, and I'm excited for that to show up. Luther Burden. Listen, Luther Burden has a chance to really turn a lot of heads, and to grab that wide receiver one and say, "No, I'm the captain now," right? So we'll see what Luther Burden does. I think that everybody's excited about Luther Burden, and this wide receiver core overall is something to be excited about. But then outside of that, Ben Johnson in year two. Ben Johnson is excited to get to work. And we saw when Ben Johnson got hired and he walked into the building for the first time, the excitement that he has about the game of football is infectious. And you feel that reverberate through the entire Chicago Bears franchise, right? Ben Johnson said this: this is where it gets fun. Call it half the roster here, half the roster is new. There's a lot of getting to know each other, and yet it's a chance for us to create a new chapter for Chicago Bears football, the 2026 version. We have to come together as a group. There will be some trials and tribulations. Coaching staff are going to apply pressure and stress on these guys. I think that's where the best version of yourself comes from. You talk about sustaining success. Well, shoot, we're starting all over again. That's been the consistent message. I don't know how you don't want to run through a wall for a guy like Ben Johnson. If you listen to Ben Johnson talk football and you don't get excited, I need you to check your pulse, because Ben Johnson is exactly what we needed here as a head coach. And I love how he talks about putting pressure on people. Pressure is either going to, burst pipes or create diamonds. And you want to create diamonds on this team, or you want to realize the people who are just going to end up being burst pipes, right? And so you want to do that. So hearing that this coaching staff is about applying pressure to these guys in training camp, That's exactly what you want. Ain't nothing sweet, or nothing should be sweet here in Chicago. It just should not be. And Ben Johnson's the perfect guy to lead that. And he's built the perfect coaching staff that brings through that identity from top to bottom, right? And we've already had to make changes on our coaching staff, right? Losing Eric Bieniemy, for example, losing our offensive coordinator, for example, bringing in Press Taylor, promoting Press Taylor, and you still feel the same level. And that's because the guy at the top, he is setting that tone and setting that identity. And coming from Matt Eberflus to Ben Johnson, it's like night or day. So, like I said, that's the training camp press conferences. We're going to get more and more details that come out as it goes on. We are back full go here at Chicago Bears Central. So make sure you guys stay in tune with us. Make sure you guys hit that. Sound off down below first. I want to hear how you feel about all the topics down below. Kyler Gordon, everything else in training camp, all the stuff. Let me know that down below. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or an upload. You can follow us at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, or Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.